guess we'll be dropping by your house tomorrow.
That will be fine.
And so the phone call ended after some direction was shared. The long-awaiting face-to-face meeting was about to take place. The next morning found two very nervous persons waking up early, waiting to see each other. Edgar drove Ed to Nettie's house and was about to drop him off. Ed was confident and ready.
No, Edgar, please don't go. Come on, this ain't too long, please.
And so they got out of the car and finally all met. Ed calmly shook hands with Jesse, Nettie's father. He was of a somewhat intimidating size, but his smile eased Ed's fears. Edgar soon left and Ed was on his own. First impressions actually went fairly well. Ed felt a measure of acceptance from the family and was immediately taken with Nettie. Ed, of course, did not want to embarrass himself, so he was diligent about certain matters. Of course, he could always use his superpower whenever he needed to regroup.
Has anyone seen Ed?
Now, the matter of going to the bathroom also called for careful behavior. The lone bathroom was an outhouse 50 feet south of the house. Nothing would be more humiliating than making the cold journey only to find it occupied or to have someone approach while you were inside. So Ed took careful mental notes of who was where and how long it had been since everyone's trip to the outhouse, so as to best schedule his own trips, which, needless to say, were as short and unobtrusive as possible. Ed got a quick opportunity to impress the family and Nettie by participating in the family business of preparing to sell turkeys at the market. There was, of course, a certain way you were supposed to kill a turkey, and Ed, being a vet, had a certain way with animals. And so, with everyone watching, Ed went to work. But the turkey was not dead. In some matters, Ed impressed Nettie more than others. 4 days passed, and by the end of the time, they were getting along very well. They parted company full of hope for the future, yet still uncertain about what the future held. And so they continued to write. For a brief time, they actually broke up, but then got back together just a few months later. The relationship was progressing, and it was time for Ed to propose. Now, of course, proposals are one of those things which women love to remember and cherish and to tell their girlfriends. So the man feels an inordinate amount of pressure to pull off a proposal that will be forever remembered. Undoubtedly, Ed spent much time researching and planning just how he was going to do this. In the spring of 1960, the time had finally come. Ed was visiting Nettie again in Canada, and the two of them were together in a car. Ed was finally ready to ask the question. It was showtime.
So, do you think we ought to get married?
If that's what you want.
Excuse me. That was beautiful. And so it was that they were married on August 31st, 1960, 50 years ago. The ceremony went very well, and they honeymooned in Doe Lake, Ontario, where the family still returns every 2 years for a family vacation. They moved to Kansas, where Ed was completing vet school. A new phase in their lives was about to begin. For a while, they lived in Dwight, Illinois. Ed himself had felt sort of orphaned while growing up, since his mother had died when he was young, and his father had had a debilitating stroke when he was still fairly young. So he was quite anxious to start a family. They also both felt strong connection to the brethren in Christ and hoped one day to live where they could attend a VIC church. Soon both hopes and prayers would be answered. In 1962, Carolyn was born. In 1963, Ed bought a veterinarian practice in Bremen, Indiana. like you had hoped there was a BIC church nearby Nappanee. Carla and Charlene followed in 1964 and 1965. They really were wasting no time in growing their family. In 1973, Kurt, the favorite, life at the Meyer home was always one of, well, hospitality. Around mealtime, some people just had a way of showing up to eat some of Nettie's magical cooking. Ed would spend time farming when he wasn't working as a vet. Of course, sometimes it wasn't all smooth sailing. One day, Ed rode a horse into an electric fence.
Are you alright?
Ed went flying.
Should I call a doctor?
No, it's okay. Just give me a chair. I'll be fine.
When the kids grew up, Ed and Nettie were able to do some of the missions work they had wanted to do for years. They went to Zimbabwe for about a year and to New Mexico for about 3 months. They also went with the church on a missions trip to New Mexico. There are many things to do and places to wander, so that once again, Ed's magical powers were in evidence.
Has anyone seen Ed?
This all brings us to the present day. Guys, I don't think they're quite that old yet. Ed and Nettie continue to be an inspiration to us all. Their love for each other, their selfless hospitality and care for others, and their superpowers continue to touch us even today. Ed sums up life with Nettie with these powerful words.
Before I met Nettie, I never knew what it felt like to be full. Since I met her, I've never been hungry.